Morning guys, so it's 7 o'clock and I'm pretty much ready to leave. I am going on a day trip today, which I booked yesterday. It's like a bus journey, a tour where they take you. I assume you all stay together and you go to these different places. They give you time to look around and then you come back at 5 o'clock. So the bus is from 8 o'clock, so I have to get down to Charlotte Street. So that'll be nice. Not really sure what to make of the day, but we're going to Loch Lomond, which is this beautiful loch which I've gone past a couple of times on the bus when I was going up to Fort William and Kinlochleven on my last trips to Scotland. And I don't know what we're doing down there. I assume we'll go and have a look, take some photos, etc. It's a massive loch. It's beautiful. Really, really beautiful little area around the Highlands. And then we're going to Trossachs National Park, which is again like literally a national park in the Highlands. So like animals and those typical, I don't know what you call them, they probably have a certain name, but the cows, they're like orange, they've got big horns, kind of like fur over their faces, typical Scotland cows. That was on one of the photos, so you might see some of those grazing around in the hills. And then after that we're going up to a place called Doune Castle. So if you've ever gone here, let me know what your impression was to any of these places, because that would be quite nice. But yeah, really excited. I need to get walking soon. Google Maps said it takes me about 20 minutes to get there, but I'm worried I'm going to have to double track myself, so I've given myself extra time to try and get there, and I can always go and try and find a drink or something if I'm too early. So yeah, I will talk to you guys very soon, and obviously, as always, I will vlog and try to keep you updated as I go along. Bye!
The biggest area of this kind of classical style of architecture in the world, at least undisturbed in the world. Built between 1760 and 1850. As you can see, it's in the kind of classical or neoclassical style. In fact, Robert Kirk, who was a minister out there back in the 1700s, wrote a book called The Commonwealth of the Fairies. He was convinced that it was true. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get there. But the other thing you need to keep an eye open for is Kelpies. So Kelpies are shape-shifting water spirits. So every body of water in Scotland has its own Kelpie or Kelpies. Two babies have been born on this bridge. The bridge. No, I can't remember. And what else? Oh yes, and this is one of the few bridges that's actually had an oil rig crash into it as well. So a Texaco oil rig crashed into this bridge back in 77, I think it was, causing a lot of damage, a great deal of expense.
who lived in this area did so under the protection of the Earl. This included two of the most famous names in Scottish history. During the Scottish Wars of Independence, both William Wallace and Robert the Bruce were separately given permission by Malcolm, 5th Earl of Lennox, to use Loch Lomond site as a boat hole and hiding place during this violent period in Scotland's history.
So we're going to head into International Park and we are going to head for Aberfoyle. Is there anywhere you, Elizabeth, is there anywhere you haven't been? William Wallace, the national hero of Scotland, immortalised by Mel Gibson's Braveheart movie, you may have seen. Blood of old cobblers that was, but it was a good laugh. Anyway, back to Aberfoyle. So, you'll remember that earlier on I mentioned about its supernatural reputation for fairies and elves and all sorts of things like that. So, the most important local historical figure is the Reverend Robert Kirk, and it was the said Reverend Kirk who provided the first translation into Gaelic of the Book of Psalms. But the Reverend Kirk is better known for the Secret Commonwealth of Elves, Fauns and Fairies, which he published in 1691. Now, Kirk had long been researching fairies, and his book collected several personal accounts and stories of people who claimed to have encountered them. The Fairies of Doune were angry with the Reverend Kirk for going into their land and for publicising it. And so they decided to imprison him in Doune for one night in May 1692. That night the Reverend Kirk went out for a walk to the hill in his nightshirt. Some accounts claim that he simply vanished. However, he was found unconscious and brought home, but he died soon afterwards. He was buried in his own kirkyard, although local legends claim that the fairies took the body away and only the coffin only contained stones. There was a huge pine tree that stands on the top of Doune Hill, and that's said to contain Kirk's imprisoned spirit. Now, Kirk's cousin, Graham of Ducray, went on to claim that the spectre of Kirk visited him in the night, and to tell him that he, Kirk, had been carried off by the fairies. Now, that's a story that's quite common in Scotland, actually. Away with the fairies. His child was to be baptised in the local Kirk. The ghost of Reverend Kirk had come to Graham and said his ghost would appear at the baptism, and what Graham was to do was to throw an iron dagger at the spectre, thereby freeing his spirit. Now, the story goes that the spirit did appear at the baptism, but poor old Graham of Ducray was too shocked to actually throw the knife, so he didn't do that. However, ghosts, apparently the Reverend Kirk's ghost has since faded away and never been seen since. Now today, visitors to Doune Hill write their wishes upon pieces of white silk or other white cloth and tie them to the branches of the trees for the fairies to grant their wishes. So you can make of that what you will. And also Walter Scott published a novel called Rob Roy MacGregor, although Rob Roy himself only features it in that book for about 20 pages of it. So I think Sir Walter was taking a bit of artistic license for that one. Anyway, Rob Roy MacGregor was from these parts nearby and is actually buried in nearby Balcudder, or at least so we believe. The grave was popularised in the 1800s by the poet William Wordsworth, so I'm not sure whether that's the real burial place. However, the story about Rob Roy is that he worked on the land near here for the local major landowner, the Duke of Montrose, and in 1711 he asked the Duke of Montrose if he could borrow money from him because MacGregor was a cattle expert, good eye for cattle, and what he planned to do was buy cattle in Glasgow, in the market there, and sell it at a profit in Carlisle in the north-west of England. So he borrowed £1,000 off the Duke of Montrose, which was a huge amount of money in those days, and the Duke sent one of his own men to keep an eye on his money. Now, on the way to Glasgow, the Duke's man actually stole the money and very much left MacGregor in trouble. MacGregor tried to find the man but was unable to trace him, and he went back to the Duke to explain it all, and the Duke of Montrose didn't believe a word he was saying and basically declared MacGregor an outlaw. So MacGregor and his close followers took to the hills in these parks all around us here, and he became a cattle thief, cattle rustler, and was taking the best of the cattle, originally from the Duke of Montrose, but then he started raiding other big landowners, and eventually moved into a sort of protection racket game where he promised the landowners he wouldn't actually steal their cattle if they left money for him. And what happened was they would leave money in the forests around these parks in black mail bags, which is where the term blackmail comes from. And so MacGregor made a pretty good living out of this, him and his friends. Over time, he had actually started giving money to the poor and the dispossessed in this area, so he became a bit of a kind of romantic Robin Hood type figure, and to the extent that he was captured on several occasions but actually freed by his captors, because he was able to say things like, remember the time I gave your family money, keep a roof over your head, or I gave you food, etc. So he made several daring escape attempts, and latterly he was so popular with the people that there was a public outcry for him to be given a royal pardon, an amnesty, and a royal pardon was given, and it looked as though good old Rob Roy would see out his days in peace. However, the MacGregor clan had an ongoing feud with the nearby MacLaren clan, and the MacLarens were the more numerous and more powerful clan, and so in order to avoid a massive fight with who knows how many deaths, MacGregor, who was a very capable and able swordsman, agreed to a duel with the MacLarens pick. Now, by this time MacGregor would have been in his 60s, and so he had a duel with a much younger man from the MacLaren clan. As it turned out, MacGregor decided to kind of lose the duel to let the MacLarens save face and to end it all. In those days, a duel didn't have to be to the death, it could just be first blood drawn. So MacGregor let it pass that the first blood drawn was his. That was honour was settled, there was no more trouble with the MacLarens. Sadly, MacGregor's wound became infected, and in those days... Oh, Highland Cow coming up on our right. If you want to... I was hiding behind the hedge. They're not normally so shy.
Right here next to the fence.
Right. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah, we can get a wee glimpse of it. Anyway, so poor Rob Roy died of his wounds. There was no antibiotics in those days. And he is now buried in the nearby village of Valcudder. A trim, doesn't it? a bit of a haircut. No doubt in association with the fairies that are so famous in these parts. And they use the word inside. So I can recommend that. The street food's good, prices are reasonable, and the staff are very nice.
Get off, Mum. Hi. Probably hiding from us.
You can see the famous Doune castle. Now, originally that was a 13th century castle. Then it was damaged during the Scottish Wars of Independence in the 14th century. Rebuilt in the later 14th century when it was owned by the Duke of Albany. And subsequently it passed on to the Crown. It was used as a hunting lodge, and then it saw further military action during the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, Glencair's Rising in the mid-17th century, and also the Jacobite risings of the late 17th and early 18th century. So by 1800 it really fallen into disrepair and was a bit of a ruin. Now it's been partially restored. There are 2 usable rooms inside it at the moment, and you can walk around, explore, etc. I'll leave it up to you, but I believe, as Kyle's just informed me, they've put the entry price up to £9. It's a bit much. Now, don't worry about Kyle reversing backwards here. Unless the front wheels come up in the air, there's nothing to worry about.
That's beautiful for you.
Mhm. Really nice.
I'm still here till Thursday.
Oh yeah, you got time. I like just hearing the water.
Some pictures.
Hi guys, it's now 25 to 6 and I've not long got back from the day trip that I took today. It was like a Lothonian coaches, something like that. Basically a full day coach trip. Like I walked up to Charlotte Street this morning and waited and got on the coach at 8 o'clock. So I had to Google Maps my way to Charlotte Street from my hotel, because apparently in Edinburgh you can't just try and remember where you are. Google Maps, you always get lost, or I do anyway in my experience. So yeah, I walked down to Charlotte Street, got the coach from there. Really, really nice guys on the coach called Gary, and the driver was called Kyle. Scottish guys. Lots and lots of stories, really funny. So basically we went round all the way up towards Glasgow first, and then past Glasgow they were telling us stories about about Scotland in general and the different places that we were passing, and I was taking pictures and clips and things, so Hopefully you've seen those before this little message. So that was really nice. There's so many nice views, guys, so I really tried to put as much of it as I possibly could into the video, considering my phone was dying. It ended up at this point we had to go to this, we ended up in this little tiny village for lunch, and I had to go into a garage, which was apparently like kind of like a hardware store at the same time, which actually thankfully sold USB adapters, because the coach only had the USB adapters plug sockets, not the actual main ones. So I was using those to try and charge my phone, but it was on about 25% most of the morning, probably because I've taken so many photos and videos. But yeah, so we went up to this place, and absolutely beautiful loch called Loch Lomond. It's actually somewhere that I went past on my last 2 trips, and if you've seen my last Scotland videos, from when I went to Fort William and Kinlochleven. Fort William was December last year, and Kinlochleven was September the year before that. You will have seen that some of my clips on the way up to the big mountainy sort of areas. There's a place called Loch Lomond, and it's a massive loch, and it's all windy roads and lots of trucks all constantly trying to dodge each other trying to get around, because it's just really tiny narrow roads right next to the loch. Beautiful views though, the loch is beautiful. And today we went up there, but we seemed to go a different way, and it was beautiful because we went and parked in this like car park, had to pay an extra £11 to get on this little boat and go on a boat trip across the loch. So that was really nice. So you got to see like a different side of the loch, which was interesting. Really beautiful. Again, I've tried to put clips of that on there. Took a selfie, had someone take a selfie of me, which was really nice because I took a selfie for this young couple. Yeah, so amazing views. It's really like panoramic, so I was trying to take as much of it as I possibly could, and just admiring the view as I was going around. You go all the way around it, and they're giving you stories and things, because Scotland is very, very famous for like writers apparently, and like celebrities that would come and stay in the big like manor houses and like old castles and things. And they talk a lot about the history, like this big thing with Mary Queen of Scots. She stayed in many different houses and manor houses around Scotland, and a few of them we went past today, mainly when she was forced to seek refuge when she was being attacked by the Protestants, I think it was, because she was a Catholic, and the country had changed basically, and she was forced to abdicate the throne to her son James, who was only 9 months old at the time. So yeah, that was all the history, but she was very much like looked down upon and ended up being executed, I think, in the end, exiled and executed. So a lot of history to Scotland, and it was just amazing to hear all that. So we went around all of that. That was really nice, one little boat trip. Then we went up for another nice long drive to the countryside. We saw like Highland cows and things, loads of sheep. It was lambing season. We talked a lot about this, like told stories of this guy I can't remember the names, I'm really bad with names, but there was supposedly a guy there that had kind of been away with the fairies, and this was where the phrase apparently comes from, where he had very much believed in fairies, and he'd written a book called The Commonwealth of the Fairies. Yeah, so it was pretty much said that this guy was like, he'd died on suspicious circumstances, and it was like that he'd made this fae world kind of popular in his books and everything, and it was like the fae, or the fairies, sorry, didn't want him to have done that, so they weren't happy, and he later was found unconscious in the woods nearby where he lived, I think, nearby where we were going actually, and he later died, and no one really knew what had happened to him or why he died. But yeah, so that was the story they told. There was quite a few different ones, but all really, really interesting. Probably too many to recall back, but yeah, some amazing views. And then we went and stayed in this little village. I've forgotten the name of it. it'll come back to me later, and if I remember I'll try and pop it in here for you. Yes, we stayed there. There was like this little gift shop and ended up getting some nice little bits. I actually got I'll show you just a second if I can get out from my chair. I went in this little gift shop and it was like in a shed. It was really colourful and bright, and it was all quirky little crafts and things, like trinkets and that. There was this nice little book. So it's careful or you end up in my novel, for obvious reasons. And then there was this little Highland cow TY, which I thought would be perfect for my puppy to take home as a little, because we always get him soft toys. Yeah, so again, really, really lovely time. Then I went and sat in a pub which was actually called the Fairy Tree because of the same story. Yeah, so that was really, really good. And then we drove up quite a bit further once we'd had food and got back on the coach, and we went up to this place called Doune Castle, and that was quite a long driveway, so I ended up having to charge my phone in the meantime. And I was chatting to this little old lady called Elizabeth. She was lovely, and like the drivers were lovely. They were chatting to her because she'd also come and like travelled on her own. There was an American couple, a father and a son. But the younger man was a little bit older than me, like probably my parents' age. And I'd been talking to him and saying, you know, were you guys, where else have you gone? Because they'd come over, they did base there from the US. They'd been staying in London for a little while. Then they'd come here. Then they were going up to the Highlands for a few days after that, and staying elsewhere. And then they were going to go and meet up with with family or something. And I said, "Oh, are you excited?" Like, you know, chatting away, making conversation. And he said, "Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet because because he'd come up with his dad, and his dad had never come over before." And he said it's kind of bittersweet because like my mum passed away like a month ago, and she was supposed to be coming with us, and I just thought, oh, that was really sad. But yeah, it's like it's really nice, guys. That's really sad. But I was saying to the guide today, it's like you do get chatting to people. I got chatting to another couple on the boat, actually, I forgot to mention as well. And I got chatting to the lady in the gift shop. And both the couple and the lady knew Milton Keynes. It's weird how you can get chatting to people when you travel on your own. Because, you know, they see that you're on your own, especially when you're young, probably. They're like, oh, that's weird. And the couple on the boat said to me, like, that's brave. I was like, yeah, maybe it is, but maybe you've got to do it. Maybe it's very, very empowering, though. It is. I was talking to another girl, and Nando's about the same thing, because she was also travelling on her own. She looked about either my age or a couple of years older. And she'd come over from the Netherlands, and it's like people from all different places, and it's easy to see because it's such a beautiful city, and it's like people that have come over from nearly the other side of the world. But Edinburgh is beautiful, so I can't really blame them, and it's good to go on all these day trips and stuff. But yeah, I was talking about Elizabeth. She's another little little old lady, really sweet, like nice lady. We was chatting on the coach a little bit, and then we went to Doune Castle, where they gave us like an hour to wander around. You could go in and pay like £10 to get inside the actual castle, and they'd actually charge £9 apparently, because the some episodes of Outlander were filmed there. I don't know if you've ever seen this I think it's on Netflix. It's the series. Really quite popular. I've not actually seen all of it, but I definitely want to see it now. I think I watched a little bit of it with my dad, but yeah. And then there was also I don't know if it was the very first episode, one of the main episodes of Game of Thrones, one of the very first ones, the one where I think his name's Bran, the little boy, is pushed out of the window and he becomes injured. Apparently that scene was also filmed in the castle. And so Elizabeth and I didn't actually go inside the castle, and apparently it wasn't really worth the £10 anyway. It was just kind of the ruins of the castle, so it wasn't really inside anything, or there wasn't much left of it. It was just the ruins, but it was really pretty, and I did try to do some pictures of it and film it. So, but again, guys, if you want to see my photos, have a look on my Instagram, which is AprilGrace1, or my Twitter, which is AprilGraceReads, because my Instagram usually goes on there, and my Instagram has most of my photos that I really like. I take a lot of photos. I put most of them on Facebook in an album. I put my favourite ones, or the best ones of each day, on Instagram on separate posts, depending on what I've been doing during the day, and then put little captions with them, and then I do the same with Twitter, and then when I post on Instagram it goes onto my Twitter, and sometimes I post from Twitter directly, you know. So yeah, have a look there if you like, but I tried to put in my little clips on here. So Elizabeth and I were walking around the side of the castle. It was really nice to look at. I love castles generally. She said she wasn't really a castle kind of woman, but I love them, probably because I love like fairy tales and stuff. And that's another thing. I think Edinburgh and Scotland in general is just a very like literary country, and I think that's what I like about it. So many writers come from here, and so many writers have written stories based on places in Scotland, or locations, or people from Scotland. I think they were talking about that James Bond's school was there today in Edinburgh. Obviously there was a lot with J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter. There's a building that apparently is near the Elephant House where she wrote, actually. I sat and wrote in there the other day. But there's also, what was it, like a school. She looked at the window, she can see a school, and that school apparently inspired Hogwarts. You've got the eerie kind of Greyfriars, which is the graveyard, and apparently supposed to be very haunted, and has a lot of goings on down there. But very eerie kind of tone to it, but quite beautiful at the same time. So yeah, Elizabeth and I walked her all the way around the castle and the loch and everything around the side of it, and we saw a dog walker, and we just had a nice little walk, and then went back to the coach. It was really nice. We were just chatting. She's lovely. Just like we've known each other for a long time, you know. That's what you do sometimes. You just click with somebody, and I was taking photos, and she was laughing and trying to give me the best angles to take photos and things, and yeah, it was really nice. And then on the way back, we went past this big bridge, or two bridges, which are supposed to be some of the biggest bridges in the world, really. Took some photos of those, and I again would have added the clip in. And then after that we came back to Edinburgh and went our separate ways, and I came back to the hotel. So I am now, excuse the mess in the corner, that's like my tray that you get when you first come to the hotel, which has a couple of beds on it. Yeah, I'm all ready to set up and do some editing. I'm really in the mood, because I've been doing so much everywhere here that I haven't done any writing or editing, and I want to get the first 3 chapters done for my mentor, so I can send it back and she can give me the rest of the edits. So I've got all of tomorrow, and then I'm going home. It's a weird one. I'm kind of excited to go home, because I always am, like when I've been away for a few days, but I have really enjoyed my trip, and again, it's been lovely. Like, I'm so glad I did it. I'm always really glad I've come to Scotland. But I'm so glad I did the day trips, even if I've spent so much money right now that I don't have. But it's a beautiful place, definitely worth visiting, guys. I love that I'm seeing even more of it the more that I come here. Just meeting so many lovely people, so many more things I've bought that will inspire me to write other stories eventually, and give me lots of ideas, because I've got books on like Scottish myths and things, which I'm determined to rewrite something. because there's so many interesting stories from here, especially on like witchcraft and things like that. And shape-shifting Kelpies and all sorts of strange goings on and strange cultures and things that I really want to look into and rewrite, and all the castles and everything. Stirling Castle, I think, is another one they were talking about on the way back towards Edinburgh, and I think I'd like to visit that one day as well, because that sounded really, really cool. That was another place that I think Mary Queen of Scots came to, but of course that's probably for another trip, really. So yeah, I will talk to you guys very soon. My last Scotland vlog day tomorrow before I go home, and as always I will keep you updated, and let me know if you've ever done any things that I've been talking about in my vlogs, or yeah, I definitely want to go away again soon, guys. You'll have my vlogs coming up from when I go to Paris in a few weeks. That's on the 25th, couple of weeks. Wow, that's close. So yeah, you'll have those vlogs for that. I'm ready to go away again. Every time I go away, I just want to do it even more. I think it's going to be Ireland or Italy, or one after the other maybe, eventually, when I can afford it. So, but yeah, if you feel free to give me any ideas, guys, about any nice places to go to that hopefully aren't too expensive or too far away, because I'm trying to work within Europe first. See all the things. I mean, I'm going to Menorca in July with my family anyway, and I'm going to Paris in a couple of weeks, which had been planned since December. This trip to Edinburgh was kind of spontaneous. Wasn't really planned for very long. But yeah. Sorry guys, I keep ranting on, but I will talk to you very soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!